tonight. My first time streaming, so I've got no idea if this is working okay or not. If you can hear me clearly, let me know. Hello, hello, hello. Anyone? Make yourself known. Just plug the mic in, see if that's any better. Smoking a Trinidad Villa. Well, I can see on my screen that 9 people are watching. So perhaps one of you could start us off. Any topics of interest you'd like to discuss? It doesn't have to be verbal, it can be typed on the screen. Excuse me. Thanks, Ray McCoy. Appreciate that. What are we smoking tonight, people? Trinidad Villa. Very, very tasty cigar. Cuban. I've been finding the last week or two that I've been smoking cigars far more than pipes. What's up, Paul? I better find my Jack Daniels. There it is. As the saying goes. Jack, what time is it over there? Hi Joe, how are you? Yeah, I've had the Nicopuro. Nice cigar. Quite middle of the road, I think, if I remember correctly. It was a while ago. As you guys probably know, I'm more into the Cuban cigars. But I do enjoy some New World cigars from time to time. I just got some a range of undercrowns, actually one of each, a few of each type actually, and they're really good cigars. Fuente Hemingway, smoking Scotch, nice. The Hemingway is a short story. How you doing, Joe? Beardless Gnome. I see you're getting the videos under your belt. Told you once you start, you'll get going. Yeah, the Undercrown Sungrown is a very, very good cigar. I've said it many times on my channel. I'm sure you've heard it. For me, it's one of the best New World cigars out there. It's got a fantastic richness to it, sweetness to it. And they're real cheap out there. It's difficult for me to get them, but you guys can just pick them up anywhere. Surely. Thank you, Smoke and Scotch. Appreciate that. I actually got a message from Happy Go Lucky Piper, if you guys are following him. He's just had a baby girl today. Really nice news. IPSD, anybody doing anything for that? I did a gore last year, but this year it's kind of crept up on me with everything that's been going on in my personal life. I just completely forgot about it, to be honest, and it's crept up on us, and it's well, it's upon us. It's 12 o'clock now here in the UK, so IPSD has actually started, and I've done nothing about it. Besides, of course, for smoking a cigar. Yeah, I did see your video, Jack, but I didn't actually take part. I don't remember what the actual competition was, but it's very good of you to do it. Nice. What pipe did you buy, Joe? I'm actually in London. I live in London. Hi Tree, thanks for that little tip earlier on. Smoke and Scotch. I live in London, and I frequent both of those shops pretty regularly. I've had a good chat with Edward and Eddie Sahakian, who run the Davidoff shop. In fact, Eddie Sahakian actually runs a cigar lounge in the Bulgari Hotel, which is maybe a mile or two down the road from St James's, and I went there once just to experience it once. Really nice, exclusive place. Bulgari obviously would be, and they've got a very exclusive humidor there. It's not a huge humidor, but what they've got is aged, difficult to find, limited edition, regional edition cigars. Very expensive, but if you're looking for something in particular, at that time in particular, I was looking for the H. Upmann limited edition from 2009, which I managed to find actually since then, but I found it very, very hard to find at that point, and they had them there, so I went down there, enjoyed the cigar there. It was crazy amount of money they wanted for the cigar. I would imagine that they, besides for the crazy UK prices, add another 20% on top of that for the exclusivity of smoking it in the Bulgari lounge. Hi Andy, Lucas. Yeah, Full Login, Boswell's, any of them, just in touch with them. Full Login is going to be a little bit more difficult now because it's changed hand recently, and although my orders have come through, no problems, I've yet to get a response to an email. So I don't know if the new guy is snowed under and he finds it difficult to respond to emails, but personal emails which I've sent, communications that I've sent, besides for the actual order itself, I've not had a single response to, and I've sent several. But the orders all seem to come through okay. The last one took about a week, maybe 8 days, and it all came through okay. The main thing is to get in touch somehow, and just let them know that you're in the UK, and that they should package the box accordingly. Boswell's do it, and phone logins. I don't think I've ever been stopped with either of those. The only times that I really have been hammered is tobaccopipes.com. When I first started smoking a pipe, I after seeing all the usual pipe smokers on YTPC, especially Jay Dagner, Jason's father, he was smoking Cult Blood Red Moon a lot, and I wanted to get hold of some, and I saw it on tobaccopipes.com, and I ordered a tin or two. Came through, but the customs cost me more than the value of the order itself, and that was very depressing. But because I was so excited at the time, I paid it. But since then I've learned I will not order from tobaccopipes.com. Even if it was Penzance or something like that, I wouldn't order from them. Jack, in which language are you talking about? Dwarven Piper, and you did some. You put together some London Fog. Very cool. What do you think of it? I mean, you've said really good stuff, but what would you? What is your normal go-to tobacco, and how would you compare it? Well, Eddie's a magician as well. He's not Australian. He's never Australian, seriously. Unless you're not Australian, Jack. Gamecock Piper. Mike, how are you? Yeah, Jack, Cuppa Joe's, I've got to try them, because they do often get some hard to get tobaccos. I do have to try them. Armenian, right, cool. Yeah, that makes more sense. Lovely guy. I don't know if you've ever met him or spoken to him or interacted with him, but both of them, Eddie and Edward, very, very nice people to speak to. Razvan, yes, of course. The Bulgaria one is obviously an exclusive lounge. My regular go-to lounge is 1A, which is Dunhill's. It's not actually Dunhill, but it's called Dunhill. It used to be Dunhill of London. It's now British American Tobacco Company, but it's licensed with the name of Dunhill. But that's my favourite one. I go into JJ Fox's from time to time. Whenever I go to St James's, I make a point of visiting each of the shops, and I try to spend a little bit of money in each one. Who's TH? Do you think you like the sound of the Dark Destroyer from the Chase? I'm sorry, I don't know what that is. I'm assuming it's a film or something like that, but I'm not up on it. Do you think that if you smoke both pipe and cigars, that smoking pipes will give my Humidor cigars a break from being opened all the time? If I understand you correctly, you're asking if you just not smoke cigars for a while, that it will help your Humidor retain its humidity. Well, your Humidor shouldn't be open all the time. it should be open for long enough for you to take a cigar out and then close it again. The thing with cigar humidors is that the cigars themselves, if your humidor and your cigars are correctly humidified, the cigars themselves retain humidity. If your cigars are correct, you know, there's always a little bit of bounce in the cigar. That's the humidity. If there's no bounce, or if it crackles, then you're lacking humidity. So if you open your humidor for a while, that's fine. It's not a problem if you open it for a few minutes. Yes, the immediate humidity will escape, but as soon as you close it, the humidity from the cigars themselves will help, and obviously whatever humidification device you have in your humidor will replenish the humidity reasonably quickly. Obviously you can't just, this is a mini humidor I was gifted at Dunhill's. I just keep my lighters and cutters and stuff in it, but if you open it and you just leave it open for a few minutes, it's no problem. You just close it. If your humidor is working, you won't have an issue. If you are keeping your humidor closed and you're finding that the humidity is not being kept, then there's something wrong with your humidor, or there's something wrong with your humidification device. I don't know if I've understood your question correct, but if I haven't, then by all means retype your question. Right, okay, TH, I got you. I'll be honest with you, I don't watch a lot of TV. I haven't watched ITV in yonks in a long time. No, I haven't tried the Regias. I have seen quite a few people trying them on the various on the Facebook groups, and people say they're pretty good. I haven't tried them yet, no. Are they actually rolled in the UK? Or is it just a UK based company? Mike, I got your note, by the way, 2011, thank you very much. I forgot that you had actually told me that before. I assume the ones on the end of that code there are to do with that. As always, Mike, thank you very much. And I have several items on my desk here waiting to be packed up as soon as I get the time to do that. Although, talking about time, I'm sitting here talking to you guys, so that's a bit of a baloney excuse, I suppose, but we'll get there. Darren, did that answer your question before? Okay, so that's October 11. Pretty cool. Cheers, Mike. How's the restorations going? Haven't seen one of your restorations for a while. Yeah, these coffees always have featured in my videos. They didn't for a while until recently again. This cup I bought on vacation a couple of years back, and I've used it ever since at home. I don't use it in work or anything like that, but it's nothing special. It's just become my smoking cup, if you like. For coffee, I've been asked it many times. The coffee itself is unremarkable. It's a normal Nescafe Gold blend, which is in itself a very, for normal freeze-dried coffee. I think it's a very good coffee. But I don't do any of the buying coffee beans and sort of blending them and all of that kind of stuff. I did consider it at one stage because somebody had sent me, I think it was Stutter, Cynthia and Susan, they sent me with a package a while back. They sent me a bag of coffee beans, and I was considering going into it, but in the end I never did. But all this is normal coffee, about half a cup of water, hot water, and then I have a milk frother, a very good one, and that gives me a really creamy milk, which I add, and and then I top it with the drinking chocolate powder, cocoa, Nesquik or something like that. Tell me about it, Mike. I'm sure you've been watching my output recently. Life has been incredible. It's been an unbelievable roller coaster in the last couple of weeks. My daughter, as you know, is just got engaged. We had the party yesterday. We had the young man over for supper tonight. Really, really nice, enjoyable evening. I do have a married son, but a daughter is, as I said in one of my videos, a daughter is a different matter entirely. So it's been an emotional and financial roller coaster, big time. Happy-go-lucky Piper. I was just telling the people online that Izzy, who's just joined us, gets a huge mazel tov. His wife just had a baby, and I congratulated him on WhatsApp earlier on. If any of you are not subbed to Happy-go-lucky Piper, then you are missing a huge part of the YTPC. Go sub him. And if you're into beards, you'll be well satisfied. Mum and baby well, is he? Just realised I've lost the band. My cigar has been circumcised. It's Jewish. That's good, Izzy. I'm pleased to hear that. Lawrence Davis, Razvan, it's funny you should say that. About half an hour ago, I was watching some of his videos, and I'm not lying, that's the absolutely God's honest truth. I really enjoy watching his videos. When I'm just a couple of minutes here and there, I'll just tune in, watch any of them. It doesn't really matter, he's got so many on there. I just enjoy watching them. For me, the best part of it is the way he chomps on the cigar. I feel bad sometimes saying that, because it's like I'm not sort of making fun of it or anything like that. It's just I find it entertaining, and I was actually watching one of his videos, and he said that because he puffs away so industriously, people said to him, well, doesn't it heat up, doesn't it get bitter? And he said it doesn't, and everybody should smoke it the way they smoke it, and he's absolutely right. But I just find it really funny. I love watching his videos. I do find them a little bit how should I say it? I mean, he's selling cigars, so I've yet to hear him really diss a cigar. Yeah, absolutely, Razan. He does look like he's chomping and about to take a chunk out of it. But I find his reviews are very skin deep, because he does a review in about 5 minutes without editing. So, and he's got through maybe the first third. I don't think you can review a cigar on the strength of 1/3, but there you go. I'm not criticising or anything. It's just that's his style of review, and that's fine. But I love watching them. Hi Dan, Benamu. No, I'm not from Golders. Not far away, but not from Golders Green. Perhaps we can get in touch, Dan, via direct message. You don't get to see many cigar smokers in the northwest London area, so that's cool. Pipehead, you asked about London fog ratios. It's roughly 50-50. I've never made it a scientific mix. Although increasingly I tend to have a little bit more of Virginia Woods, because it just smooths it out a little bit more. But have you tried it in any ratio at all so far? Andy Lucas, hi. Mild cigars, what would I recommend for beginners? Where are you? Which part of the world? Dan, good question. Off the top of my head. Well, I would have to say Coro, first of all. Cohiba Robusto. Cohiba is an obvious brand, and it might sound pretentious, but it is a fantastic, fantastic cigar. It does need a few years age on it, but definitely Cohiba Robusto. I don't smoke it as often as I'd like to because they're so expensive. I have a few in the Humidor. So Cohiba Robusto, H. Upmann Royal Robusto, which is the LCDH release. I've been smoking that quite a bit recently. It differs from the other H. Upmann cigars because it has an additional sweetness and floral bouquet to it. And again, I'm sounding a little bit pretentious, but I tend to do my best not to sound pretentious, but that's the best way I can describe it. It's just got an amazing array of flavors, and I find that it's an explosion of flavors in the mouth. Sorry, I can't keep up with the questions as quickly as I would like to. It's the first time I'm doing a live chat, by the way, so bear with me. So that's the LCDH H. Upmann Royal Robusto. I would go again with another H. Upmann. I'm not going to say the 2009 limited edition because you can't get it, so unless you're going to spend fortunes on it. So although it's a fantastic cigar, it wouldn't go in my top 5 because it's just not achievable, really. It's not realistic. So I'd go with a Connie number 1, H. Upmann Connoisseur number 1. The A I would go as well, but it's just quite a hefty cigar, so it's I find the Connie one is great. Monte Cristo number 2. For a while that was my number 1 cigar, but I find with those that they do have to cheers Mike, we'll be in touch. I do find that with the number 2s that they do need to be well treated. I've also enjoyed the Partagas E2 and the P2, both very nice. TH, best UK tobacco website. To be honest, they're all pretty good, but if I had to select some, I would say mysmokingshop.co.uk, GQ Tobaccos, very, very good. Those are my the two main UK sites that I shop at. There are others. There's Black Swan, there's Gauntleys, there's Smoke King. There's a good number, but the two main ones are definitely My Smoking Shop and GQ Tobaccos. My favorite YouTube cigar reviewer. I don't know if you guys have seen him. He does 60-second reviews. He's very, very good, but he doesn't do Cubans very often, which is a shame. I don't remember what he's called now. Hang on, I might have on my subscribers list if he's done one recently. If you haven't seen his channel and you like cigar reviews, you definitely should check him out. I've interacted with him a couple of times, and he's very responsive as well. He's recently done a sort of rejigged his channel, so he's got a paying one, where a patron channel, and he's also got a free channel, which I've carried on with because I don't have a huge interest in the non-Cubans, although I still do enjoy them. His channel is called Should I Smoke This? A very, very good channel. Also, there's two other people I've mentioned before. There's TNT Cigars, but that's, for me, that's purely entertainment factor. TNT Cigars and Daily Cigars. Sorry, Cigars Daily. That's Tim and Bradley. They used to be together. They had a channel together, and Tim's gone off on a new venture. And it's interesting to see them put out videos almost trying to sort of outdo each other. I'll be honest with you, I turn to TNT more often than I do Tim. Tim's very good, and I really kind of enjoying to see his journey as he starts a new business. When his website goes live, which is happening any day, it'll be interesting to see how that is. I've also asked him if he can somehow bear in mind UK purchases, whether he'll do something which will enable us to receive stuff without getting slammed every time. So to answer your question, Razvan, in terms of getting an honest appraisal of a cigar, I'd go with, should I smoke this? In terms of Cuban cigars, I think myself, that's very conceited, isn't it? Well, to be honest, I find it's very subjective, and I'd much rather smoke a cigar myself and see how I like it, to be honest. Dan, Padron cigars. I haven't had a huge amount of them. I have smoked them. I've smoked the 80th, or was it the 60th anniversary. I've mentioned this a few times on my channel. I'd gotten a Churchill size, and obviously in America, like everything, it's always bigger and bigger than British ones. And it was a 7-inch by something like a stupid ring gauge. Not stupid, sorry. I mean, I enjoy a heavy ring gauge, but a 50, I don't know, a 58 ring gauge, possibly even a 60, possibly. It took me 3 days to smoke it because it kept knocking me out. It was early on in my cigar smoking experience, but they are very chocolatey. I did enjoy it, I must say. I enjoyed the flavors. I did try the. I've been trying to get hold of the natural, the natural cigars, the natural wrapper, which I guess it would be a Connecticut or something like that, but I've not managed so far. Hi Tree, do I know anything about Open Junior by Monte Cristo? Yes, I have smoked them. The Open series generally is the Open series generally is supposed to be. It's a marketing exercise. It's designed to be attractive to people playing golf, hence the Open, as in the Open golf tournaments. They're supposed to be lighter and easier to smoke. I've smoked them a few times. They're pleasant, they're light, but I think they lack depth of flavour. But that's just the ones that I've had. Supposedly the Open Master is supposed to be better than the Open Junior, but I don't remember if I've had an Open Master. Oh right, Dan, yeah, okay, that's cool. So it's not just me then. TH, thank you very much for your contribution. Cheers, till the next time. Might have to do this again. I see that Matches 860 has started to do it. I can't watch them on Friday night, but I sometimes watch them afterwards. And it seems to be quite a popular thing to do, to be able to interact with people. That's very cool. Tree, I owe you a return fire for your package that you sent me. Very, very generous package. I will be doing a box pass as soon as I can get my head around it. But I will. I'll try and pick you up some Open cigars at some point next time I'm around 1A St James's. Do you like them? Have you had them yourself? How do you go about selling cigars online? With great difficulty. I've been trying just now to sell a few of my very sort of prized cigars to help pay for my daughter's wedding. Dr. Joe's show, yeah, I've watched a lot of his videos, but they're just far too long-winded for me, and they take far too long. I mean, he does a review on one cigar, and he has maybe sometimes up to 10 sort of videos on one review, 10 parts to it, and you got to have 3, 4, 5 hours to watch a review on one cigar. For me, that's too analytical, and it doesn't justify the time for me. He's extremely knowledgeable, probably one of the most knowledgeable cigar guys in the world, possibly, but I just don't have the time for that. Where was I? Yeah. So in terms of selling cigars, a while back I bought, when the Cohiba Robusta Supremos came out, I bought some boxes as investment, not for smoking. And my idea was that when my next child gets married, I'll sell them, and whatever profit I make, fantastic. And it's just a way of sort of saving money and perhaps making a little bit of profit on it. And in terms of value, in retail value, they've gone skyrocketed literally through the roof, and they're retailing at silly money. I've mentioned it many times on my channel. The Robusta Supremos is selling at £160 per cigar at Davidoff. Davidoff, I believe, inflates the prices. I actually, I really ought to have a little chat with Edward about it, because I think it's artificially inflated, and I think it's really pushing up prices unnecessarily. I think he does have a lot of Asian market purchasers, and they'll pay any money. And the same would have happened with the Talisman recently that came out, the Cohiba Talisman. I was not in a position to invest in any of those, so the idea of getting some of the boxes, which I put in my recent video, was simply that, for it to be a way of saving money, rather than it being cash in the bank, saving money, but to accumulate a reasonable amount of profits. But it's come around a lot quicker than I expected, and my daughter getting married is happening a lot earlier than I expected, so the amount of time that has been for profit to accumulate is limited. But having said that, you know, I would still hopefully make about 20 or 30% profit on them. I just need to find some buyers. You don't smoke cigars at all, Tree? Oh, you don't smoke many cigars, right? I got you. Well, they're quite light. They're not too heavy. My favourite London cigar room is most definitely 1A Dunhill in St James's. There is one in Hampstead, which is nearer, but it's tiny. I've been there once. I should really go back again and try it out, but I haven't yet. So light cigars. Somebody asked me before about light cigars. Yeah, so I was asking where that person was. I think he said Kent. Is that right? Let me just go back. Yeah, it was Andy Lucas, and he's in Kent. So that's basically the UK is what I was asking. So you've got access to Cuban cigars. I would say you should try the El Rey del Mundo. They're lightweight. You should try Hoyo de Monterrey. Yeah, that's a good place to start. Those two, Hoyo de Monterrey and El Rey del Mundo. Good light, easygoing cigars. H. Upmann, I wouldn't start there, but it's certainly the next stage. They're not full, but they're not strong, but they have quite a full flavour. I would stay away from Ramon Allones, certainly from Bolivar, from Cohiba, Partagas. I would wait a while before trying those. Very good question, Dan. The Topaz or the Robusta Supremos? You know, Lawrence made that comparison in one of his videos, and he says that that the Robusta Supremos is a superior cigar. I don't know. It's like, do you prefer golden delicious apples, or do you prefer pippins? You know, it's a matter of taste. It's a matter of what you like. In terms of quality, they're both superb cigars. They're fantastic cigars. I wouldn't say one's better than the other. I think they're just different. It depends on what your taste is, your taste preferences are. The Cohiba, the Robusta Supremos is a very chocolatey, really intense experience, and I found that the Topaz was also a similarly intense experience. I found it an explosive experience for the first third when I had my first one, but it's a different experience. It's just sweeter, spicier kind of flavour, a more aromatic flavour, as opposed to the Supremos, which is a chocolatey, almost Maduro-ish kind of flavour, sweet chocolatey flavour. So it's a different cigar. So I don't think it's fair to say one is better than the other. It might be better for one person, not the other. Cheers, motorcycles, tobacco and alcohol. I hope I didn't miss any of your questions if you're on your way. And thanks very much for taking part. Andy, are there any tobacconists around your area in Kent? Razvan, I see you have a pretty wide range of cigars that you've tried, or at least that you're asking about anyway. The Diplomaticus No. 2 is a very nice cigar. Again, a cigar in terms of the need for it to be a cigar which has a good quality provenance, like the Monte Cristo No. 2. They do need to be aged well. I find that if they've got a nice, for me anyway, they've got a nice nutty flavour, good coffee flavour, good tobacco flavour, but I have found that if they're not correctly looked after, that they can dry out and become veering on bitter. So I think they are important to make sure that they're in good condition. Mr. Iximba, I hope I'm pronouncing that reasonably. Yes, it is sad that Cuban cigars aren't available. Germain's tobaccos are available in the US as Esoterica. Esoterica is made by Germain's, but they're difficult to get. Yeah, I see what you mean, virtually unobtainable. Yeah, they are difficult to get. Germain's tobaccos here are far easier to obtain here than Esoterica is in the US, that's for sure. I've almost run out of Penzance, and I've been trying to get a bag for a long time. When I first started smoking a pipe, maybe it was beginner's luck, but I managed to get a fair amount of it, but now I'm finding it a lot harder. Dan, in terms of non-Cubans, I don't know. You're naming all the premium cigars there, the Olivas, the Melanio. I don't know which Melanio have you tried, which Vitola. For me, I've got some Robustos, but for me the Perfecto is the one to have. I don't know if you've had it or not, but try the Perfecto. It's better than the Robusto. A lovely cigar. The Padrones, they've got a good range, so I don't know how many you've had, but get some more. My Father Le Bijou, for me, I know it was the cigar of the year a couple of years ago. It didn't do it for me, but as you say, horses for courses. Any other suggestions? I like the Mi Amor cigars. I think I've got some here, 1 second. I'll tell you what, somebody asked about a mild cigar before. This is a cigar to try, and you can get those in America. This is Leaf by Oscar. They're wrapped in a cigar leaf, and you take that leaf off, and the cigar's inside there. A very nice mild Connecticut cigar. You can obviously go for the Opus X, but I've so far not really seen what all the fuss is about, but that's just me. Here we are. So this is the La Roma de Cuba Mi Amor, a very chocolatey cigar. It's a full strength cigar, but very, very nice. And that one I would recommend. Not expensive, like most cigars. You know, they're all in around this. Even the premiums are, you know, a lot of them are around the $7-8 mark. Yeah, the Tatuaje are very good. I've had one or two, have enjoyed them, but I haven't had enough to really say that I understand them well enough. This is another one. Perdomo 20th anniversary, very nice cigar. Again, a full cigar. The short stories, we mentioned them earlier on. Very good cigar. And then, of course, the undercrowns. If you haven't had the undercrowns, definitely, I'd get some of all of them. They're all very good. The undercrown, the Maduro, the Shade, and the Sangro. I didn't enjoy the Florida Sangro, and I found that a little bit too peppery, too spicy for me, but that's just my taste. Another cigar, which I'm not sure is still available out there, is the Yamasa by A. Chapman in New World Cigars. Must be a year or two ago I bought 10 of these, and I absolutely love them. I haven't. This is my last one, and I'm not sure if they can still be bought. If I can buy more, I would, and then I'll smoke this one. But I don't like smoking my last one of any particular cigar. Yeah, so Dan, definitely try that Perfecto if you haven't so far. You've got the natural. I've been trying to get hold of that natural, so maybe we can have a little swapsies one day. Excuse me. Alright, the nearest I've got in Kent recently is the Chatham area, but there's nothing there besides for some never mind, I'll pass on that one. Darren Vaughan, would you smoke cheroot cigars? Not my favourite, but I like. I don't know. I've not had them before. I think the nearest I've got to that is the cigars that I bought in Venice recently. I didn't enjoy it. I think they've got quite a lot of Kentucky leaf in there. I didn't enjoy it. Am I a wimp for liking acid blue blondies? I don't know. I wouldn't categorize anybody as a wimp based on their cigar preferences. I might for other reasons, but not for cigar preferences, and I've never tried an acid blue blondie, and I don't think I ever will. Man, I need to explore cigars more. Yeah, maybe you do. Would you take the time for a 10 to 15 by 60 to 70 ring gauge? No, is the short answer to that. I would smoke a 60 ring gauge, probably not a 70. A 60, yes, but maybe 6 inches, something like that, not more. La Mission de l'Atelier, 1959, is a phenomenal cigar too. Never heard of it? Okay, cool. Did you enjoy drinking some brandy, cognac, Armagnac whiskey when you're smoking? I'm not a huge drinker. I do enjoy whiskey from time to time, but so far it's not become a vice for me, and sometimes I think to myself, if I start, it might become a vice, and I don't want to. I like to enjoy whiskey every so often, perhaps on the weekends. But I don't want it to. I've got enough vices going on already, so yeah. The Leitao Robusto, the Davidoffs. I've not been a fan of Davidoff cigars. I've got a few in my Humidor. I've got a few of the art series. When I was there maybe a year or so ago, 6 months ago, Eddie Sahakian pointed me in the direction of the art series. I said fine. It was 40 odd pounds, very expensive, but I bought one. I smoked it, and it was okay, but I just didn't really like it very much. I've got another one in the Humidor, but I haven't smoked it. I'm not smoking it really. It's the red banded one. The thing with Davidoff cigars, I find the flavour profile on the Davidoff cigars to be very thin, at least the ones that I've smoked, and I find that they turn on a halfpenny, In other words, they can go bitter very quickly, and there's the margin of going from an enjoyable cigar over to a non-enjoyable cigar is very, very slim. So I just don't like them. The ones that I have liked is the Nicaraguan, the Davidoff Nicaraguan, the one with the gold band. I must say I did enjoy that particular one. The Yamasa I did enjoy as well, but you know, they're okay, but it's not. There's so many other ones out there which I prefer and enjoy more that I just don't see the point in spending some money on something which is hugely overpriced, and it's usually overpriced everywhere. Because when I was in Switzerland last year, I bought the new H. Upmann Magnum 54 when it came out, and that the regular line Davidoffs were more expensive than that. They're more expensive than Cuban cigars, and it's just for the name. You're paying for the name, and I really don't rate them that highly. Roblox, no, I don't play it. Sorry, I don't know what it is. I'm a pretty boring chap. I know you've done a review on the Behike 52. The Behike 52, I've had the 52 and I've had the 54, and I think I've got a 54 in the Humidor, and I think I've still got a 52 in the Humidor. The 52, the first 52 I ever had, was delicious. It was lovely. The thing about the Behikes is the year. The unique sort of USP of the Behike is the medio tempo. It's those top couple of leaves in the tobacco plant, which gives it a particular rich, tangy flavour. And if the yield of that particular tobacco, if the tobacco yield of that particular year isn't great, then the Behikes will not be great. So I've had a variety of success with those. I've had some fantastic ones, and I've had some which I haven't really enjoyed. The 54 that I had was garbage. It was absolutely garbage. I think I actually dissected that one because I decided it was either a terrible yield of tobacco that year, or it was a fake. I wasn't sure which, but it was horrible. Have you made any trips to Blake Marlboroughs lately? You need to make a video of you smoking the semi-bent. What's that? What's that? I've only been to Blake Marlboroughs once. I enjoyed it, and I would like to go again. Pipe Tree, I still have most of the cigars you kindly sent me a year ago. Cool. Which cigars were they? I don't remember. Have you tried the Bolivar Belgravia? Yes, I have. But it was a while back, and I've only had one. My recollection, as vague as it is, was that it was quite mild and vague in terms of flavours. I wasn't hugely impressed with it, but it may have been relatively young at the time. And I would like to try it again. In terms of Bolivars generally, I recently did a video on the what's it called, the Crown something? It was the limited edition from 2014, I think. A very, very flavourful cigar, but strong. But my favourite Bolivar by far is the Bellicoso Finos, and I do want to get some more of those. How would you compare Penzance versus Special Attica Flake versus GLP's Quiet Night? Well, I did a three-way video a while back on Penzance, Quiet Night, and what's the third one? Quiet Night and somebody, come on. Super Corona, correct, yeah. Star of the East, thank you, Pipe Cat. I was impressed with. I think I was impressed with Quiet Night more than Star of the East, but I don't know. Maybe I'm just a bit too fussy or too finicky with flavors. But I found them all. I found the Quiet Nights and Star of the East to be fairly similar to each other, but I found Penzance to be different to all of them. People say that they're very similar. I don't see that. I see Penzance as discrete from those two. The semi-Rhodesian pipe you bought, which one are we talking about? Eric? Which brand pipe are we talking about? Blakemore. At the moment, I don't have a Blakemore pipe. No, I don't have a Blakemore. I had one, which I probably bought at that time when I was at Blakemore's, and I think I gifted it to Dan. What's he call himself these days? The guy who rides a bike. I didn't even smoke it. I gave it to him brand new. I don't remember. I don't remember what he's called himself. Dan something. He stopped smoking a pipe for a while. Then he went back on it and went for Italian pipes. I sent him a Savinelli at the time as well. Thompson cigars. Have you tried any? No, no. Is that some of the ones that you sent me recently? I've put them in the humidor because they felt a little bit that they needed a little bit of humidification. So at the moment they're just resting for now. Going back to the question about Penzance and Special Attica Flake. Special Attica Flake is a Balkan forward English blend, if you like. It's very different. Obviously you have to be used to Balkans and English to appreciate the difference, but for me it's completely different to all of the other ones that you've mentioned, such as Penzance, Quiet Nights and Star of the East. Special Attica Flake is a far more oriental style smoke. For me, it's got a very fermented kind of flavour to it, and for me it's very different, and when I'm in the mood for it, nothing beats it. If you want to get some, GQ Tobaccos have got a batch in, and the batch that they've got, I can attest to it, is a very good quality batch. Special Attica Flake, I've said it many times. Hang on a second, I'll get some. Here's some Special Attica Flake. Now, if you have a look, these are quite bright. You turn it around and it's a lot darker here. Special Attica, see that there's pretty much pure Latakia. Special Attica Flake. It's an interesting, the way it's been made, the way they make the flakes is interesting, because you have streaks of quite big streaks of each, whether it's the Virginia or the Latakia, and it's not really mixed in and then compressed and then sliced into flakes which are uniform. It's all over the place. So you can take a pinch of tobacco and you'll get 80% Virginia, and it won't have such a Latakia flavour to it. And then conversely, you can get a pinch of tobacco and it'll be 80% Latakia. So ideally, what you'd want to do is rub it out and mix it all up. But the problem with it is that it's so brittle that if you do that, it just the Latakia turns to dust and it falls to the bottom of the pinch and it all drops out back into the jar, and you end up with Virginia. So I just very gingerly just take some out, and I pretty much stuff it into the pipe as it is. See, if you see that there, you can see the Latakia streaks there, and it just all falls apart, and it just, if you just do that, it just literally turns to dust. So I really do very little to it. Where are we? What are you smoking right now? Pratik, hi. I'm smoking a Trinidad Vigia, which has gone out because I'm prattling on. Why are cigar prices in London so high compared to the rest of Europe? Because we have a rapist government, really. The taxes are extortionate, simple as that. What we are paying is roughly 40% in tax, I would say, on these cigars. A Magnum 54, when I was in Switzerland, I bought for about 14 euros, so about £13, £13.50, and here they're 20 odd pounds. So that tells you exactly what the difference is. Eric, that's a very generous statement. I'm sorry, but I haven't seen your channel, but I certainly will look it up now. What's your, are you a cigar smoker or a pipe smoker, or both? And what do you mainly feature on your channel? You might as well give yourself a shout out while you're at it. Smil Taveras. The Topaz 2016 is a superb smoke. This is a Vigia, it's not a Topaz. If you want, I can show you some Topaz if anybody's interested. Pratik, I'm smoking the Vigia now. Dan, the cigars that I mentioned earlier in terms of chocolate flavour, the Mi Amor, it's got a very good chocolatey flavour, the Padron cigars, the Perdomo cigar, and in terms of Cubans, Monte Cristo, the Supremos, the Cohiba Robusta Supremos. GQ, and we're not allowed to. In fact, some of the European countries go even further than that. I was in Venice a few months ago, and I really struck up a fantastic sort of friendship with the owner of the main cigar shop there, which is basically a newsagent, but he's got 4 or 5 cabinet humidors, and he's pretty well stocked. And he has a reasonable range, and I just asked him if I could buy some, phone him up, or message him on Instagram, where I follow him now, and he said he can't. He said that, so I said, can you send them to me personally, not through your shop? He said, no, you can't, because it's illegal for Italians and Venetians as well to send tobacco in the post, even within their own country, let alone to another country. And if he were to be discovered to have sent anything in the post, he would lose his license, and they're very draconian about it there, so he just wouldn't take the chance. GQ tobaccos will ship, but they just won't ship tobacco. They'll ship any of the paraphernalia, tobacciano, but just not tobacco. Eric, yeah, Matches 860, Sergeant Savinelli, Stuff and Things. Stuff and Things is a superb reviewer. He's probably, I should have mentioned him before. Somebody asked who are my favourite reviewers, but I think the question was about cigar reviewers. But in terms of pipe tobacco reviewers, Stuff and Things, his channel's gone a little bit all over the place in terms of content, gaming and all that kind of thing, which I'm not into. Excuse me. But his reviews are so well structured, thought out and prepared. They're just on another level. So yeah, you should subscribe to him if you enjoy reviews, in-depth reviews. But having said that, even though they're in-depth, they're concise, and his reviews are usually about 15-20 minutes, not more. So they're definitely a good place to go. I buy cigars all the time online. I don't purchase them online, but there are cigar shop Lumo, which is a Spanish cigar purveyor. I would recommend heartily to anybody. Very, very reliable cigars. Their humidor is good. The cigars that I get are always top quality, and if there's ever an issue, they're happy to deal with it. And I think the Royal Robustos from H. Upmann, I think I got from them, although they're out of stock now. If you search Lumo, L-U-M-O, cigars, you'll find their site. Thanks, Pan. Appreciate that. It's been a roller coaster, but a very exciting time for us, for the family, for my daughter. It's been great. Andy, I asked the same question. I recently got in touch with Jermaine's, I spoke to Robert Jermaine, and I asked them exactly that question. My question was more about the pouches, because in the UK, the rules about tobacco and the warnings that have to go on the tins and boxes and so on have become so extreme that it just didn't make sense for them to have tins anymore. So they're now only selling their tobacco in pouches. So I got in touch with Jermaine's. I spoke to Robert and I asked him, can you sell pouches? And he advised against it. He said that pouches, they breathe. Ultimately, they have got a seal and they're made with plastic, which is not designed to breathe, but ultimately they will breathe at some point. And he said for more than 3 months he would not keep tobaccos in pouches. As far as tins are concerned, leave it in the tin. People say different things, but generally speaking, it's probably best to leave it in the tin. It also depends how long you want to cellar it for. I think that if you want to cellar it just for a year, or maybe 2 years, then I would probably jar it. I do think, although I don't know that from a point of absolute knowledge, but I do think that when you jar tobacco, the interaction that it has with the air does help the process of aging. But I think that would be best for fast aging, if you like, if you're going to smoke it within 6 months to a year. If you're going to leave it and for 5 years, I would definitely leave it in the tin. And yes, pipe cat, I would definitely put it in a dark place. Some people go, you know, the whole 9 yards. They'll seal the tin. Additionally, they'll put tape around the seal to help keep it sealed, and they'll put it in a separate bag. Some people wrap it in foil. It depends how OCD you are about it, really. No, I don't know if I saw that link, Eric, but I will definitely be looking at your channel, and thank you for the mention. I appreciate that. Yeah, Marty Messina, yeah, as I said, I think for short-term cellaring, I think that the air is not a bad thing. I think the interaction with the air is not a bad thing in the short term. I do think that when you smoking fresh out of a tin, it just needs that time to just breathe a little bit, and there's no harm in letting it breathe. I've got the tins that I smoke, I actually don't keep them in an airtight container at all. I leave them out because most of them are moist, and they need that, and I find that they're better, they're more combustible, and I've got probably 10 to 12 tins in a drawer, but they're not in an airtight container at all. Ones which I don't smoke that often, I keep either in a Tupperware or in jars. Friends of Urbanos, Dan, I find them thoroughly entertaining. They're very enjoyable. I like the banter. I like the ribbing that they give each other. Again, that's very good entertainment. But I do find that, again, like with everything, like with every review, my reviews included, they're very subjective. And a very good example of that is that you'll watch them both and they'll both have different opinions about some cigars. So right there is your proof that somebody's best cigar could be somebody's worst cigar. In fact, they're a fantastic example of that because they're both doing a review at the same time. And in actual fact, it could be two cigars from the same box and they'll have completely different experiences. Pipecat, quantum vacuum force field generator. So like I said, depends how OCD you are. Yeah, but I mean, I guess if you're cellaring for a long time, then that's the way to go. Can anybody see on their screen how long this video has gone on for? Because I can't see that for some reason on my screen. Oh, 70 minutes, I can see. Wow, an hour and 10 minutes already. Virginia Woods, yeah, I managed to get a fair amount of it. Mike once again helped me out with that. Mike Blocker, Gamecock Piper. I got some from, I think I finished off 4 noggins stock. I think I got their last 10. But I've got a fair few tins. I haven't got hundreds, but I've got about maybe 10 tins, something like that. Where are you based, Eric? BA, why do you want to go straight into full-bodied cigars if you're a pipe smoker? I don't know about the brewing industry. I do enjoy beer from time to time. I enjoy cider actually more than beer. I don't know anything about the industry, I'm afraid. I don't. As far as Virginia Woods disappearing, I don't believe it's one of the blends that is on McClelland's chop list. But I guess you know, when people see it becoming popular and people see videos about it being raved about, people go out and buy. That's just the way it goes. If it's not on the chop list, I guess it'll be around with the next batch. What do you smoke? What pipe tobacco do you smoke, BA? Dan, the latter. And your name tells me that you're the former. No, not that I'd heard of, Marty. McClelland, but you never know with these things. You know, some companies, a good example is Toys R Us here in the UK. They closed down a whole bunch of stores here in the UK, and that's often an indication of what's to come. So it's very possible that McClelland's having trouble, and they're having to just limit their output. Who knows? You know, they're very unlikely to publicise it if they're trying to save their company. They're very unlikely to publicise what their real issues are. The same with the Dunhill tobaccos, although it's a different situation. Dunhill have been very clear about what's going on with them. There's a lot of speculation about whether it's completely out of business or not, the tobaccos, but basically the situation with Dunhill tobacco is that Dunhill is a fashion brand nowadays, and they want to disassociate themselves from tobacco. Tobacco is very un-PC, and they just want to disassociate themselves from anything which is tobacco related. For them it's bad karma. So I believe that they've made it quite clear that they stopped production at the end of 2016, I think, possibly 2017, and they have said, from what I can understand, that they have stopped production now. But there seem to be plenty of stock around on some of the blends. I've certainly been slowly stocking up. I haven't done a mad rush on some of the blends, but the ones which are my favourites, I've been slowly just buying the odd tin here and there, slowly building it up. But you might be right, Marty. It's very possible that McClelland is going to close its doors. Who knows? Irish flake, yeah, I get that. Okay. Well, if you want a strong cigar, then the Bolivar Coronas, yeah, that'll hit you. But if you want something full, you should try some New World cigars. I found that actually very puzzling, Razvan. Why, hi Scotty Piper. I found it very puzzling why Dunhill had released a brand new cigar, the aged series, literally months before deciding that they're closing their doors on tobacco. So it was really puzzling to me. And I think that this clarity with Dunhill is just them playing for time, and I'm pretty sure that they're just waiting for the right deal to come along for a company to buy the licensing. I'm pretty sure, well, I can't say pretty sure, I'm not a prophet, but I'm pretty confident that Dunhill tobaccos won't go away entirely. Either somebody will buy the licenses, or they'll buy the recipes, the license to the recipes, possibly rename them. But I'd be very surprised if they went away for good. What I would say is, if in terms of tobaccos which are disappearing, which is fact, and that's Syrian Latakia based tobaccos. Marty, the Dunhill not renaming, they don't make enough money, from what I understand, from the Dunhill tobaccos to make it worth their while. Otherwise, I'm sure they would have done it. And it's very, with these things, it's not necessarily just about a company. It's very possible that it's about somebody very high up in the company who's become dead against smoking, and he may have just decided, I want out, and that could be the impetus behind everything. We don't know. A Fuma type cigar is essentially a short filler, as far as I know. Premium cigars, whether Cuban or non-Cuban, will be long filler cigars. In other words, whole leaf, well, half a leaf once the vein has been removed, but it will be the full length of the leaf, or at least large chunks of the leaf. And when they're constructing a cigar, if you watch videos of the rollers on YouTube, you'll see that when they're constructing, they've got a length of a cigar. They're bunching all the rolls together, and then in order to get the uniform ends, they'll then chop the ends. It's those bits, the offcuts, either when they're actually rolling and breaking bits off, or the bits that they cut off. They use all of those offcuts to make Fuma cigars, as far as I know. Some of them can be pretty good, and some of them not so good. Pipe tree, yeah, you're right. It is hypocritical because they are not disassociating themselves from the pipes, as far as I know. The pipes are a good money maker for them, that's for sure, and it does smack of hypocritical behaviour, because I went into the Dunhill shop in Jermyn Street, and they have an amazing array of Dunhill pipes, and they sell for silly money. And that being the case, the amount of profit that they're making on it must be huge. A block of briar, if they're buying it wholesale, and they're probably sitting on stockpiles of huge stockpiles of briar blocks, but the average briar block they're probably paying a few pounds for. A company like Dunhill won't be paying like what we pay if we want to buy a kit block for say £15-20. They'll be paying, I don't know, maybe £1 or £2 for a block, maybe a little bit more. And then they've got the labour and the whatever processes they undertake. Yes, that's all money, but they must be making thousands % profit, literally, on those pipes. I'd be surprised if it wasn't. If they're selling a pipe for £500-600, which even with all the labour included in that, it is not costing them more than £40 or £50, I'd be very surprised if it was anything like that. Well, reasonable prices in the UK is unfortunately a contradiction in terms. There is no such thing as reasonable priced cigars in the UK, but if you want to try them out, it's certainly worth going to a B&M, to one of the shops on St James's, or Cigar and Snuff in Covent Gardens, or any other tobacconist, and just try them out, buy one and see if you like them, and then try and source them from the US. That's what I do. When I go to the shops here in the UK, I'll generally buy one cigar to smoke there to enjoy, but I will not buy bulk cigars, unfortunately. As much as I would like to support the shops here, I do not. If I'm buying several cigars, or if I'm buying a box, which is not very often these days, I'll not buy that in the UK. Yes, Pipe Cat, very nicely put. my choice between deluxe Navy rolls and Escudo would be Navy rolls. I find Navy rolls to be smoother, more harmonious, and a more balanced blend, but that's just me. Luxury Bullseye Flake and Davidoff Flake medallions. Bullseye Flake I might have had once in the past, but I don't know it well enough to really comment in any kind of informed way. I recently tried Davidoff Flake medallions. I find them to be a little bit lighter than Navy rolls. At the moment, Navy rolls for me are the best, but that's just my particular preference. Heartland Home Red Eye, I've never had it. Frogmorton has been an amazing success for McLaren's. I think you make a good point, but one doesn't know what forces are at play which make companies go out of business. If sometimes their suppliers, their tobacco suppliers, can suddenly change, or crops can go bad. One doesn't know. Even take for instance, Rolls-Royce. Rolls-Royce was always recognised as one of the cream of the crop in terms of cars, but they were virtually going out of business before BMW bought it out. And the same with a lot of British car makers. They've all gone over to Germany. A lot of them have. But you don't know what forces are at play. It can be the best thing in the world, but if it's not viable, it's just not viable. And yes, 100%. It's only going to get worse. The American struggle against the FDA. They're going the same way. At the moment, they don't have the ridiculous warnings that we have. Andy, on the tube. Hi, how are you? So the America is going the same way, but obviously it's a far, far bigger market, and just the bewildering array of tobaccos which are available in the US is a reflection of that market. So I think it'll be a long time coming before tobacco becomes a real issue in the US. If you Cigar Aficionado magazine, in terms of cigars, they're leading the way in terms of a fight on the FDA. There's groups taking them to court, Supreme Court or whatever it is over there. I'm not familiar with the legal processes there, but there is an almighty battle going on in the US in relation to the inclusion of premium tobacco products with cigarette smoking. And they're fighting very hard to make a distinction between premium tobacco, such as pipe tobacco and cigars, compared to sort of the cheaper end of the cigar market, machine-made cigars and cigarettes. And I think that they're going to be on a huge, huge struggle, because it's a fine line to say, well, this cigar is okay, but that cigar's not. A cigar's a cigar. Even though I don't understand the distinction, but the average person who's not into smoking a cigar will just club them together and say, a good analogy is the NRA, the rifle situation over there, the gun, it's very topical at the moment with the devastating tragic event which happened in the school recently in the US. So it's all become it's all hit the fan again in the US. It's difficult for us to be objective about it because we're in a completely different culture here in this country as regards guns, it's like comparing a hunting rifle, which in this country is legal if it's licensed, even in this country, and comparing it to an Uzi machine gun. They're both lethal weapons. So to somebody who's not into guns, you try to explain the distinction to him and say, well, this gun's okay, but that one isn't. He's not going to be interested. He's just going to say, a gun's a gun, it's a deadly weapon, I'm not for it. And another guy's going to say, well, a gun is only dangerous in a dangerous person's hands. So, you know, those are the main arguments, and I don't think that's ever going to change, to be honest. McDonald's. Where are we? Let me just go back a bit. I've lost the trail here. I've been talking too much as usual. How bad are cigars for you? Dan, they're not good for you, that's for sure. It's a $60 million question, isn't it? We all ask ourselves that. If you're married, you'll have had to deal with that question often enough with your wife, as I have. They're obviously not good for you. How bad are they? I think the distinction has been made that compared to cigarettes, they're nowhere near as bad for you as cigarettes are. And pipe tobacco even less so, assuming that you don't inhale. How bad are they? Who knows? I don't know. I haven't tried Robert McConnell's Maduro pipe tobacco. I've not really had success with cigar leaf pipe tobaccos. I've tried them a while back. When I was smoking cigars sort of almost exclusively, and I was kind of feeling that I need to smoke less cigars, and I thought I'll try some of the pipe tobacco with cigar leaf, and for me it's never replicated the flavors. So I don't know if you've tried it. Would you say that it's a good pipe tobacco which has a cigar flavor? Joe, well, yeah, that's the way it is. You know, our partners, always have an effect on what we do. That's how it goes. Yeah, Eric, I don't think we should get into that argument about colonialism. But yes, I see the irony of it. I need to get another coffee. Dan, are you on IG? We'll see. I'll possibly send you a direct message. If you look through my various videos, you'll find my email address. So you can certainly get in touch with me that way. It's boscopiperuk@gmail.com. Yeah, you certainly get in touch. I'll have a think about that. Are you in NW11? Yeah, that's how it's spelled. Correct. Okay, send me a message. We'll see. Robert Lewis 123 mixture. Is that a cigar leaf mixture? Tree. Dan, I've just done a very quick search. Does private equity mean anything to you? Just so that I know who I'm looking at. And I get the hypocrisy of it that you don't know who you're looking at. I'm a hypocrite, a huge one. The video was very nice. I'm still going to relight it. It's a good cigar. Oh, sorry, I asked before if anybody wanted to see the Topaz. I can bring some of those out if anyone's interested. Eric, yeah, thank you. That's my ego is really, you know, it's my head is exploding. I'm not going to get out of the door, out of my office here. So just to ease up on the. This lighter, yeah, it's very cool. It's a good lighter. I'm not sure if they're still available. I bought that in JJ Fox's. It's a bit of a blowtorch, really. It takes a lot of butane, so I hardly ever have to fill it, and it was really quite surprisingly cheap. I think I paid £30 for it, which is fantastic. It's a fantastic desktop lighter. I'm not sure if there's a name on it anywhere. I've covered the bottom in bands, I can't see it right now, but if I do discover the name, I'll try to put it on at some point. You're learning Israel now, literally now? Yes, it is a welding torch. Dan, actually you're not learning now because you're online here, naughty boy. In fact, I have a son who lives in Israel at the moment, and my future son-in-law is heading back there tomorrow. So you're being doing the opposite of being Ola Regel, Dan, Ben Azmanim. Precisely, yes, in Mir. But you have trouble finding him, needle in a haystack, right? Hi there, Quaker Piper, how you doing? Where you been? Andy, there's a simple reason for that, and that's because you're not inhaling. I hope you're not inhaling your pipes or cigars. Hi Phil, so far they haven't hit the shelves, the linears. I'm really curious to see what they're like. It's supposed to be good, but so far they haven't hit the shelves here. The release was announced quite some time ago, but no, I've not tried it. Well, I have my couple of my older boys. They dabbled with vaping, but they unfortunately keep going back to cigarettes. But so when they've had vapors, I've just had the odd drag on them here and there, but it hasn't really enticed me. Well, if in any way, shape or form you do happen to think that you might know who he is, please do not contact him about this, for obvious reasons. cloak and dagger and all that. You know what the community's like here. La Hashmid la Harig. Cohiba, nice, 45 cal. Which Cohiba are you smoking? Dan, by the way, are you on your own at the moment, or any others with you at the moment in your Dira? Is that a Cuban Cohiba you're smoking, 45 cal, or a New World one? Well, I'm going to have to finish off this opened can of Coke because I don't want to leave you guys in the middle. Oh, nice. Dan, cool. So your wife's sitting next to you, is she? At 3:30 in the morning? I think not. Robusto, cool. That's my favourite Cohiba, without question. We covered that about an hour and a half ago, I think. I've done plenty of trades with the people in the States, no problem at all. You just got to be careful how you package your boxes. Which Masechta? Eric, congratulations. The white labels are quite nice. Somebody asked earlier on about lightweight cigars, and I think the Monte Cristo white label is another good one. The white labels I enjoyed early on in my cigar smoking, and it's nice. A little bit too light for me now, but it's a very nice Connecticut lightweight cigar. I like that whole idea of smoking cigars on a wedding day. I really do like that idea. I've got some, sort of special cigars which I've got a Ramon Ayones, the 225. Can't remember what it's called now, but it was to celebrate 225 years of Ramon Ayones. I've only got one single cigar of that, and I'm not sure what that special day is going to be, but possibly my daughter's wedding day. But it's not something I can smoke in the wedding hall, so we'll see. Second, is that Elementius? It's quite a big cigar though, Eric. As you say, it's a Churchill, so what is that, a 7 by 52, 54? The American ones? Eric, may I ask how old you are? Just curious to know what age you're getting married. But you don't need to divulge if you don't want to. Andy, the Anejo or Anejo cigars in the New World cigars, do you find that there's a distinct difference in the leaf, in the taste? The age, what does it do to the cigar? I got married at 22. And I'm 26 years in. Same wife. Yeah, that's what I've seen, Phil. Happy anniversary, Joe. Phil, and that's what I've found. I haven't smoked anywhere near as many New World cigars as I have Cubans, but I've really not. There's definitely some smoothing out with New World cigars, but not the same effect as an aged Cuban cigar. The aged Cuban cigar can have a completely different flavour to a new, fresh Cuban cigar. Yeah, I still have the Monte 80. I've smoked. I've got one left, one single one, which is still sitting in my humidor. The first one I tried, I didn't enjoy very much. I found it very lightweight in flavour. I found it very thin, but it was fresh. So that Monte 80 actually might be one for a special day in the future. I've also got some of the well, not some. I've got one of the. I've got about 5 or 6 limited edition Monte Cristos, some of the very special ones, Sublime. I've got one of those, and I've got a few limited edition specials, which they're there for special occasions. You know, we always put off those special occasions when you've only got one of a cigar, and those particular cigars, I just haven't smoked them. I've got a beautiful Ramon Allones, it's like a double Corona size, which I was given by the chairman of the Pipe Club of London from 2008, and that smells divine. But also a special occasion. I've put it in a special tube to protect it, but I don't know when I'll smoke that. Well, like cigars, Quaker Piper, it really depends on how you treat them. On how you treat your partner. But in marriage, your partner doesn't react well to being stuffed into a humidor for a while, that's for sure. Another good question, Dan. Best cigar ever. Not much left of this one. Best cigar ever. I'm going to have to mention 3 cigars. I have to be honest, with cigars and pipe smoking, a lot of the time it's really the cosmos lining up on many different levels for it to be a fantastic smoke. There's your mood, the weather, stuff that's been happening to you in your life, who you're smoking it with sometimes, although often it's on your own. But I'll give you an example. Northwoods, which is one of my all-time favourite Balkan blends. I'll say that's more of an English blend rather than a Balkan blend, but now it's I don't smoke it all the time now because there's so many other things I'm enjoying. But I remember one time I was driving to a job, and as I say, the stars lined up. It was the most epic smoke, which I just did not want to stop. And you just get that sometimes, you know. But in terms of cigar, definitely my first ever Behike, because afterwards, when I had them afterwards, it didn't really rock my boat as much. But my first ever Behike 52 was a very, very special occasion. And that was probably because it was my first ever Behike, and Behikes had been built up to be something amazing. They're a good smoke. The Trinidad Topaz, which we discussed earlier on. Also, sorry, I just got to move my mic, excuse me, my rustles. So the Topaz, and there was a third one. I'm trying to remember what it was. Well, I'm going to say the Ramon Allones Gran Bretana, the 2013 regional edition for Great Britain. Although the one I had the other day wasn't so good, but when those were available, I smoked a lot of them, and they were definitely my favourite cigar for a long time. They're a small cigar. It's a Petit Bellicoso, 4 inches, torpedo, but they're very hard to come by now. No, I haven't dipped my cigars in wine. Although I have had a very, very sweet cigar once. I don't remember what it was called, but the wrapper had definitely been dipped in some kind of sugary sweetener, and I thought it was disgusting. I really didn't enjoy it, but I might try doing what you suggested, and dip some in wine or possibly whiskey. Do you find that the moisture that you get as a result clogs it up, or clogs the carbon up in the head of the cigar? Razvan, no, I have not tried those. I haven't even heard of them. My guess is that I won't like it. I've tried the Kentucky cigars and I found them disgusting. I'm a little bit of a cigar snob, and I'm really straight down the line tobacco. I don't like anything else added to cigars. Dominic Scutaro and Andy Lucas. Great minds think alike, fools never differ. Have I ever smoked cigarettes? I have. I smoked cigarettes from around 16 and a half years old to about 21 years old, and then I stopped. Interesting story about how I stopped. My older brother got married in America, in the United States, and we're going back, how far back? We're going back about 30 years ago, so you're kind of getting my age here. I just bought a presentation box of 1,000 Marlboro Lights, 5 packs of Marlboro Lights. They were on offer. I was just arrived back in Heathrow Airport. In those days you could smoke in the airport, yep, believe it or not. And I was smoking a cigarette on the escalator on the way back in Heathrow Airport, and I almost keeled over on the escalator. I almost fainted, and I didn't know what it was. It was maybe jet lag, or I don't know what it was, but at the time I put it down to the cigarette, and I just there and then stopped cold turkey. And for 2 years those cigarettes sat in my cupboard, and at some point I gave them away, and I got married, and I dabbled a little bit here and there, but I never really got back into it, and around the age of probably 22, 23 I completely stopped. And between the age of 22, 23 to about 46 years old, 45, 46, I probably had maybe 10 cigars, as anybody would. I wasn't a cigar smoker, but just, you know, maybe at a wedding I was offered one or something like that. But I didn't really, I didn't know anything about cigars. I just had it for the hell of it, and that's about it. And it all started in Covent Gardens when I went out one Sunday afternoon with the family, and Covent Gardens saw the little shop Cigar and Snuff. I've mentioned it many times. A really quaint tiny little shop, tobacconist, and I was just taken by the pipes. When I was in college, when I was younger, I was in Newcastle in Gateshead, and there was a friend of mine who was in college, and he was a bit of a professory kind of person, a little bit eccentric, if you like, and he would always be up to something. I remember one day he'd gone to a second-hand shop and bought a pedal organ, you know, like a church organ, but a small one. And a van suddenly draws up outside the dormitories, and these guys come in hauling this great big organ into his bedroom in the dorm, and he'd be playing that at the most ridiculous hours at night. Drove us nuts. But one day he came back with a pipe, and he was smoking a pipe, and that was just probably my first. No, actually, I tell a lie. My first contact with the pipe was by a guy called Dr. Brain. He was a private tutor, and one of my brothers had some private tutoring on mathematics, and he would light up a pipe, and we used to love the smell of a pipe. But I digress. Yeah, so I picked up a pipe in Cigar and Snuff, and I there and then bought some tobacco and lit up the pipe. I had no idea what I was doing. It kept on going out. I got very frustrated. And then I went online, and as we've all done, and seen all the regulars, the Dagners and Matches and all of those kind of people, stogie farts, and that's how I went from there, and started interacting with people. And it took a long time for me to move from being a lurker or viewer over to being a presenter. My first ever video that I did as all of you do, and I was in the video, but I really didn't like the way my presentation worked out, and perhaps nowadays it would be fine, but my channel has just been like this since then, and I just decided to leave it like that. It has a certain uniqueness to it, and this is the way it is. Yeah. Hi, Michael Plummer. Walker's Crisps. That's one way to stop, I guess. I remember going to the doctor, must have been about 20 odd years ago, maybe more. And in those days I was still smoking cigarettes just about, and I was overweight. I'm still overweight, but I have lost a fair amount of weight since those days. And the doctor said to me, if you're gonna overeat or smoke, better to overeat and give up the smoking. And I did. Yeah, Joe, a lot of people have done that, and I've been really have enjoyed that switch over. Indeed, Eric, indeed. You would have possibly seen my recent giveaway about how people felt that the YTPC has affected their lives. And if you go back to, if you do a search on VR to BPR UK, you'll hear lots of people saying how it's affected their lives. The point of my giveaway was not just a general statement about the YTPC, the fantastic aspects of it, but how it affected you personally. What has it made you into a different person, or has it changed something in your life? And some really, really excellent responses. So if you've got the time, have a look. Michael, I can see your fences wobbling as we speak. Pipe Cat, when you switched over to a pipe, did you ever instinctively inhale? Or did it never occur to you? Right. I mean, there are some pipe smokers who do inhale. There was a guy, I can't remember his name now. I should, because I interacted with him a lot. I sent him a lot of stuff. But he would inhale a pipe. I mean, this was a real sort of salt of the earth English guy, and when he was presenting, you could see he was inhaling, and I wouldn't like to see the state of his lungs. I don't know how he managed to keep upright after inhaling the pipe. Well, if you smoke indoors, you're inhaling secondhand smoke. That's for sure. I do often feel very bad about that, and I think about, even though I've got extraction in my office here, I do often worry about that, to be honest. Yeah, Eric, I think we'll all agree with that sentiment. No, I've never tried dip or chew or snus or any of that kind of stuff. I do enjoy snuff from time to time. I've tried quite an array of snuff, but the one I always keep coming back to, if anyone's interested, is this. This is the snuff I enjoy. It's got a really good sensation on the nose, and it's got a really nice, for me anyway, it comes across as a nice chocolatey nasal flavour, if you like, aroma. Yeah, absolutely, Pipe Cat. Smoking is not good for you, that's for sure. Thanks, Andy. Thanks for joining. Hope to see you again next time. As I say, this is the first time I've done a live stream. Perhaps we can make it a regular thing. I don't know. It's very time consuming because we're already on approaching 2 hours, which is ridiculous. It's now 10 to 2 in the morning here. I ought to be getting to bed. I haven't actually smoked the Nerd for a few days now. Where's my pack bag? It's in my pack bag. Yeah, he does keep his to half an hour, but I think the first one he did was longer, and then he put a limit on it. There she is. Yeah, it's a good little pipe. Thanks, Pipe Cat. I've enjoyed your sense of humour. No, I didn't beat them up with a Nirp, but it was all good. It ended okay. See you, Pipe Cat. Thanks very much. Alright, people. Unless anybody's got any other mind-blowing questions, I think this is a wrap. It's been an amazing experience. Did not expect this to last for more than a minute or two. When I first logged on, I was saying hello, hello. I wasn't actually sure how it works, and I was typing rather than speaking. So perhaps you were watching and hearing nothing, and then I started speaking, and then I started to get a response. Yeah. Yeah. In terms of future live shows, I guess like matches, you have to really set a time and a date so that we can get a regular thing going. For me, I think probably Saturday nights would be the best, if that works for others. And I guess it would have to be quite late to be of interest to people in the US. What's now? It's now 10 to 2, which means we started around midnight. If that works, we can certainly try and do that midnight on Saturday nights. Midnight Saturday nights, is that okay for people? Thanks, Treat. Always a pleasure. Okay, so I will certainly do my best to do another one Saturday night. Midnight here, which is 8 o'clock? No, 7 o'clock in the US, I think. I guess there's different time zones in the US, but midnight UK time anyway. Where are you, Razvan? Alright, so what's the time difference there? It's 4 AM, okay. So you're 2 hours ahead. Yeah, that is late. The thing is, it's about finding a happy medium. Maybe 11 o'clock then. Is 11 o'clock okay for people if I do 11 o'clock UK time? Okay, so we'll say 11 o'clock. Cheers, Tree. How's the wife? How's the health going these days, Tree? I think next time I'll bring a coffee flask and several cans of Diet Coke. Alright people, I've got to get to bed. Thank you very, very much. I really am blown away by this whole interaction process. It's been fantastic. I really did not expect it to be as enjoyable as it has been. It's really been amazing. Good to hear that, Tree. Thanks, Eric. Thanks, everybody. And you know what I'm about to say, don't you? Anyone? I guess not. Catch you on the next one. See you, everybody. Catch you on the next one. See you hopefully Saturday night, 11 p.m. UK time. Thanks a lot and good night.